And what happens if you, means where do you go if you worship any Devi Devata, and where do you go if you worship Krishna? Now these answers we shall give based on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, and also based on Bhagavad Gita, chapters 7 and 8 and 9. So, Kishorananiji, Hare Krishna to all the viewers in Facebook and on YouTube. So, now, my dear friends, is it same if we worship Ganapati, Saraswati, or Brahma, or Indra, or Durga, uh, or Krishna? Is it all the same? The answer is no. Bhagavad Gita also says the same thing, and Bhagavatam also says the same thing. So now I would like to first quote Bhagavad Gita verses and then get back to Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, if you open chapter 7, text number 23, it says that Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavat alpa medasham Devan Deva Yajo Yanti Mad Bhakti Yanti Mamapi. What does this mean? It means that men of small intelligence worship the demigods. See, men of small intelligence worship the demigods. Hare Krishna, Sarkarji Jodi, Hare Krishna, Ulkade Urkarji. Men of, see, from Bhagavad, now to quote directly Bhagavatam, I thought is not required. Right now, first I'll quote Bhagavad Gita, which everybody knows well. And we will also compare it with Bhagavatam. Both tell the same point. That is, men of small intelligence worship the demigods and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees, Krishna is saying, ultimately reach my supreme planet. C.P. Gangwar ji, Hare Krishna. Kishore Patel ji, Hare Krishna, Radhe Krishna. See, this particular thing is very clear that Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 23, that men of small intelligence, where does he say that? Alpa Medasham, only people with little intelligence, they will worship Devan Deva Yajo Yanti, they will worship the Devatas. So that means then you go to 9th chapter, verse 25 in Bhagavad Gita. Let's go to 9th chapter, verse 25, and there you will see what he says more about Devi Devata worship in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very clear that you have to surrender only to him and to no one else. You see here, 9th chapter, verse 25 says in Bhagavad Gita, Yanti Deva Vratan Devan, Pitrun Yanti Pitra Vratan. Yanti means what? They go. Where if you worship Devata, you go to Devata's abode. If you worship the Pitras, you go to Pitras' abode. Bhutani Yanti Bhuteji. If you worship the ghosts, you go to the abode of the ghosts. Yanti Mad Yajino Apimam. But those who worship me will come back to me. Mintudas ji, Hare Krishna. So you see, Krishna is very clearly telling that those who worship the Devatas, they will take birth among the Devatas. Those who worship ancestors, they go to ancestors' planet. Those who worship ghosts and spirit will take birth among such beings, but those who worship me will live with me. See, Krishna is saying, those who worship Krishna will live with Krishna. And then you go to 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita, verse 21. It says, when they have thus enjoyed, see here, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. Tetam bhuktva, bhukta means enjoyed. Where? In swargalokam. Shine punye martyalokam vishanti. After they have enjoyed enough in Swargaloka, when their punya is going to finish, they are going to come back to Martyaloka. What is Martyaloka? Martyaloka is this material world. Martyaloka is mortal earth. Martyalokam vishanti. Then you see, there it says that evam trai dharmam anuprapanna gatagatam kama kama labante. What does that mean? See, when they have just enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So, if you're just doing dharma, artha, kama means you are very righteously earning your livelihood. That is dharma. Dharmically, you are getting your money, salary. Artha means salary you're gaining. And why you're gaining that salary? To enjoy your kama, means whatever desires you have that you're trying to fulfill with that money. then what will happen if you're just doing that? You will only get repeated birth and death and nothing else. So then what do we do? So even if you go to higher planetary system like Swargalokas, whether you go to the planet of the ghosts, or whether you go to planet of Pitras, or whether you go to any other higher planetary system within the metal world, you will have to come back to this mortal earth again. And then you go to chapter 8 verse number 16. That gives a clear cut idea, because it is told in 9th chapter verse number 25 that those who worship me will come back to me, right? So we just now read that. That is 9th chapter verse number 25. If you see, it's told, Yanti madhyajino apimam, means those who worship me will come back to me. So now in 8th chapter verse number 16, what it says is, Lalchand Punjabi ji, Hare Krishna, it says that Mamupetya punarjanma dukkalayam ashvashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. What does it mean? It means after attaining me, Krishna is saying, but if somebody worships me and comes to my abode, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. See, it's very clear that if you are worshipping that one supreme Lord, Krishna, one supreme person, he is the shelter giver for all Devi Devatas. Whether it is Shiva or Durga or Ganesha or Skanda or Brahma, Indra, Chandra, anyone. But Krishna is the supreme among all of them. So if you worship that Krishna, then what happens? After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion, means by doing bhakti you have attained Krishna, then they never return to this temporary world. See, we don't come back here if you worship Krishna, which is full of miseries, because they have attained highest perfection. So if you are worshipping Krishna alone, then you attain highest perfection. If you don't worship Krishna, then you don't attain that perfection, and you keep coming back to this world when your punya finishes. This is what Bhagavad Gita is saying. Now what does Srimad Bhagavatam say? Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 32, verse number 2 onwards. Let's just go through. See, it says that Sachapi Bhagavad Dharmat Kama Mudha Paranmukha. See, Bhagavad Dharma is there. That is, doing devotional service to Krishna is there. But those Kama Mudhas, those who are become blinded due to their lust, what do? Paranmukha. They turn away their face. And then what do? Yajate Kratubir Devan. They turn away their face from Krishna and they worship only Devatas for getting some silly material benefits which are temporary. Okay? Pitrums cha shraddhayanvitaha. See, Yajate Kratubir Devan Pitrums cha shraddhayanvitaha. They will worship Devatas and Pitras with great devotion. So you see, such persons, its meaning is, such persons are bereft of devotional service due to being too attached to sense gratification. Therefore, they perform various kinds of sacrifices and take great vows to satisfy the demigods and forefathers, and they are not interested in Krishna consciousness or devotional service. You see, so those whose minds are stolen by the lust for their own sense enjoyment, they end up turning their face away from Krishna and they worship all other Devi Devatas, which is considered as less intelligent. Such materialistic persons, attracted by sense gratification and devoted to the forefathers and demigods, can be elevated to the moon. So what happens to such people, such materialists who are seriously worshipping Devi Devatas or Pitras? What happens? They will get at most one seat in Chandralok, and then where they drink the extract of Soma plant, they again return to this planet. See, they again return. That's what it told in Bhagavad Gita, that Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti, right? Kshine Punya means when your Punya finishes, even if you go to Devi Devata's planet, you'll come back. Here also it is said that, see, in the Canto 3, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 32, text 3 says, Tat Shraddhaya Kranta Matihi Pitradeva Vrata Puman Gatva Chandramasam Lokam Somapa Punar Ishyati. You see, Punar Ishyati means again they will return here. So if you worship the hundreds of Devi Devatas, then what will happen? You will come back to this material world. So whom you should worship? One supreme master. You should worship one supreme master. and that is Krishna. So if you worship Krishna alone, if you surrender to Krishna alone, you are sure to go back to Krishna, because you'll attain all perfection. Bhagavad Gita says in one of the verses that whoever does bhakti to Krishna, they attain all perfection. So Bhakti Yoga gives us perfection. Can you say why? Because when we do bhakti, we are told that we should not be a separatist. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we saw separatist means one who has a desire different from Krishna's desire. So when we accept Krishna as supreme master of ours, then we should live to serve that supreme master. So according to his desire, not according to our desire. So when we start serving Krishna according to Krishna's desires, then we become one with Krishna in our desires only. Physically, we remain separate servant, but mentally, in our desires, we become one with the Lord. And that time, we don't have any expectation from anyone around. We only have expectation from us that we should go on serving according to Krishna's plan. We have to serve Krishna sent people in Krishna given situation to the best of our ability. And that the service which has no expectation from others, make sure that we attain all perfection. So, and that's also because of the mercy of Krishna, and that is the power of doing Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means chanting Hare Krishna mantra, hearing Hare Krishna mantra, speaking about Hare Krishna mantra, and remembering Hare Krishna mantra, like that, This is Bhakti Yoga. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu, Pada, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are the different types of devotional services. We can do 5 of these when we do chanting Hare Krishna mantra, because when you chant, you are using your tongue for Kirtanam, and when you chant, you are using your ear for Shravanam. When you chant prayerfully, it is also Vandanam. And when you chant, remembering that Krishna is in front of you in the form of words, He is inside your ear in the form of words, you are actually doing Smaranam of Krishna. You see, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, and that too if you are doing it as a servant of Krishna, even Dasyam. So all these things happen all together in one Hare Krishna mantra. That's why He is our Supreme Master. If we worship Him alone with all of our heart, then all these Devi Devatas will become very happy with us, and they will all bless us to get more and more closer to Krishna. Abdesh Jha ji Hare Krishna, Shorojit Bishas ji Hare Krishna, Ritu Bhatt ji Hare Krishna, Ravinderjit Singh ji Hare Krishna, Mandal Ajay Kumar ji Hare Krishna. Nice to see each one of you, my dear friends. So you see here, it's very clear. All the planets of the materialistic persons, including the heavenly planets such as the moon, are vanquished when the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari goes to his bed of serpents, which is known as Anant Shesha. See, Yada Chahindra Shayyayam Sete Ananta Sano Harihi Tada Lokalayam Yanti Ta Ete Graha Medhinam. See, Yada Chahindra Yajacha Ahi Indra. Shayyayam on the bed of king of snakes. When Sete Anantasano Harihi. Sete means lies. Ananta Ashana means he whose seat is Ananta Shesha. Harihi, and that is Hari. Tada Loka Layam Yanti. Tada is then. Loka Laya means the planets will be dissolved. Yanti, that time the jivas who are in this material world will yanti, go. Ta ete grahamedinam. Ta ete means those very. Grahamedis means the materialistic householders. Where do they go? You see, all the planets of the materialistic persons, including the heavenly planets, such as moon, are vanquished when the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari goes to bed of serpents, which is known as Anant Shesha. So when the Lord sleeps, everything gets destroyed. So my dear friends, what we have to do, that is what is told in the 5th verse. Ye swadharman duhyamti dira kamartha hetave nissanga nyasta karmana prashanta shuddha chetasaha. Means those who are intelligent and are of purified consciousness are completely satisfied in Krishna consciousness. freed from the modes of material nature, they do not act for sense gratification. Rather, since they are situated in their own occupational duties, they act as one is expected to act. Manju Paulji, Hare Krishna. Now, what is that? How we are expected to act? The answer is persons, when you are doing, here Prabhupada writes, persons who work at their prescribed duties, not for their own sense gratification or for the sense gratification of their family members, but for the gratification of Supreme Lord, are called Nissanga because they are freed from the influence of three modes of nature. Prabhupada writes like that. Means if we are doing our duties just to please Supreme Master Krishna, then we will become free from the influence of Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Then what happens? Then such people, their results of activities are given to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So though they are appearing to be acting on the platform of respective duties, but such activities are not performed for personal sense gratification, but such activities are performed for the satisfaction of Lord, and therefore such devotees are prashanta, which means completely satisfied. So devotees of Krishna are completely satisfied because they are not at all worried about their satisfaction. They are only concerned about pleasing Krishna. So when we think only of pleasing the Supreme Master Krishna, then we become completely happy, says this particular verse. Then it's also told, Prabhupada writes, putting oneself in the position of eternal servitorship to the Supreme Lord and working for Him perpetually, one actually becomes completely satisfied. See, the formula for satisfaction is we should be perpetually worshipping Krishna, and we should perpetually in the mood of a servant. What is perpetually? Continuously. There should be no stop. We should not think, see, when we are thinking that we should want to please Krishna, so when we are doing this session, now we are doing this session, you are hearing, we are speaking. So when we are speaking or hearing, if we are thinking that I should do it very nicely, then only I will be happy, then that is my sense gratification. But if I say, Krishna, I'm your servant, as your servant, I want to try to do this session for your pleasure, by your mercy, please empower me. And if we keep thanking Krishna, thank you so much for helping me to speak this much in this much short time. Like this, if we keep thanking Krishna, then what happens? We become completely satisfied. But if we don't thank Krishna, and if we think, I am doing this session, I learned and I am sharing, I know I am sharing, or if you think, I can understand, I am hearing, I know I am understanding, then what happens? Then we will always be in anxiety. Prabhupada says, as one works for his personal sense gratification, he will always be full of anxiety. If we are doing things for our sake, we will be in anxiety. If we are doing same things for Krishna's pleasure, as a servant of Krishna, remembering that we are servant of Krishna, remembering Krishna is our master, we will be completely satisfied. That's the difference between ordinary consciousness and Krishna consciousness. So with this is a 5 verses purport I have done in comparison with Bhagavad Gita verses. The remaining verses we will cover tomorrow. Now I am going to continue the same session in Hindi after disconnecting this session. We start a new session for Hindi audience. Babakuttan Pillai ji, Hare Krishna. Abhishek Agarwal ji, Hare Krishna. So we end this session now. We'll join you for Hindi session immediately.